বড় সুখের খবর গায়, বড় সুখের খবর গায়। সুরাবে কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাট খুলেছে, কোরআনে তাই, কোরআনে তাই। বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই। শ্রদ্ধা মূল্যে শুদ্ধ নাম সে হাতেতে বিকায়। यत भक्त वृंदावासी, यत भक्त वृंदावासी। अधिकारी देखे नाम बेचे दरो काशी, यदि नाम किंबे बाय, यदि नाम किंबे बाय। আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যায়, তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম, তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম। ভক্তরে লয়ে আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম, বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ, বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ। শ্রদ্ধা মাত্র লয়ে দেন পরম আনন্দ, একবার দেখলে চক্ষে জল, একবার দেখলে চক্ষে জল। গৌরা বলে নিতাই দেন সকল সম্বল, দেন শুদ্ধ কৃষ্ণ শিক্ষা, দেন শুদ্ধ কৃষ্ণ শিক্ষা। জাতি দান বিদ্যাবল না করে অপেক্ষা, हमने चढ़े माया जाल, हमने चढ़े माया जाल। गृहे थाको वने थाको ना থাকে জঞ্জাল, আর নাই কপালের ভয়, আর নাই কপালের ভয়। আচণ্ডালে দেন নাম নিতাই দয়াময়, ভক্তি বিনো ডাকে কয়, ভক্তি বিনো ডাকে কয়। নিতাই তারণ বিনা আর নাহি আশ্রয়, কোরআনে তাই, কোরআনে তাই। বড় দুঃখের খবর গায়, বড় সুখের খবর গায়। সুরাগে কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাট খুলেছে, সুরাগে কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাট খুলেছে। কোরআনে তাই, কোরআনে তাই। হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে, হরে রাম, রাম রাম, হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে, হরে রাম, রাম হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुः उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So the missionary spirit, activity and its importance. That is the topic for today. Very, very important and relevant topic for any Prabhupada's follower. The spirit means what resides in your heart. Activity means what you do with your hands and legs, with your senses. And the importance of it based on the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. There are two types of spiritualists that we have observed in the Vedic followers. One type of people, they say, you practice spiritual life yourself. You don't have to worry too much about the world. The people are bad people and they are not going to reform. You had the destiny from your Purva Janma, you have done some good things, so you got it. You take it and go. This is one class of people. They say that if you say I am preaching, they will think you are immature. They will say that, first you purify your heart, then you can do preaching. Like that they will say. Then you can honestly ask them, sir, how long I have to purify? They will say, one lifetime is not enough, they will say. That means what are they saying? That means no preaching. They say that just you practice yourself, that's all. And we have seen even within ISKCON also, such people, gradually the group became shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. Finally they were only one. Only they were only sitting alone. They had no followers eventually. And this is what happened after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's departure, when going back to his own abode. The next generation was very powerful, 6 Goswamis. They were very powerful. But then following the 6 Goswamis, Jiva Goswami's 3 students, they were also very powerful. Like Shyamanand Pandit, and Nathudas Thakur and Srinivasacharya. They practically took on one state, they delivered. If you see Shyamanand Pandit, who knows Shyamanand Pandit. Similarly, Srinivasacharya delivered a king, Birambir. He delivered a king and the whole kingdom, you will see. And Narottam Thakur, Prince, Manipur, all the following Narottam Thakur now, if you see. So they were very, very powerful, mighty in preaching and reaching. In fact, they were the first Sankirtan party carrying the bullock cart, Sankirtan from Vrindavan, carrying all the books of Goswamis and reaching out to the people. Actually, they would get these books written by Brahmins and make more copies and they will sell. Even they have submitted the book distribution score also. Of course, the number may not be very big because they couldn't print it. They had to handwrite it. Can you imagine writing, handwriting Bhagavata and distributing? How difficult it will be. That's what they were doing. So, after them, if you see, gradually in our Sampradaya, 13 Apasampradayas came. So, like Aula Baula, Gauranga Nagari, Saki Beki. Every one of these people have their unique deviation. And you see, if you don't make some arrangement to preach and propagate the pure substance, then the impurity is going to take over. If you don't speak the right thing, then the wrong thing is going to be heard by the people. But that was not understood by some people. They thought that if you practice purely and you will go back to Godhead. And those who are sincere, they will anyway come. They were thinking. Gradually our Sampradaya became very diminished. It became very, very small. To a handful of people following. And our pure devotees, they were actually like Babajis in those days. Chanting, 2 lakh names, which means like 128 rounds. Some of them chanted 3 lakh names. Someone chanted 1 lakh names. 1 lakh names means 64 rounds. So they got into more chanting and more Shastric study, more purifying themselves. And they did not reach. So this is one category of people. And the other category of people is, people who feel that the Shastra should not be kept hidden. The Shastra should be reached out to the people. The Shastras are like a lamp. If you have a lamp in Damodar month, you've seen one lamp you take and you can lit 1,000 lamps. Still you will not lose anything. Your lamp will remain. Knowledge is like a lamp. Adhyatma deepam atititirshatam tamo andham, it is said. Samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasa sonam upayami gurum muninam yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam. This is about Shukadeva Goswami. So he has given this Adhyatma Deepam, this Srimad Bhagavatam. For what? Samsarinam Karunaya, for the samsari people who are suffering in this. And what will they do by studying Bhagavatam? Atititirshatam tamo andham. They will go beyond this world, which is actually in tamas, and we are andha and the world is tamas in this world. So we will become uttam, go beyond the darkness. For that purpose, he has given Bhagavatam. And it shouldn't be kept hidden. It should rather be distributed. Like imagine you brought a cake from Mayapur and you kept it in the locker. And then you became very busy, preoccupied with study for the exam here and there. 1 week later, 10 days later, suddenly you opened the cupboard and saw it was full of fungus. So it's just rotting. You haven't distributed it. Correct now? So it's a great disservice, you see. Because you are supposed to, as soon as you bring it, you also eat it and you also distribute it to others. Similarly, the Vedic wisdom, Janma Sarthak Kuri Kara Paropakar. You also practice and you also distribute it. Then you benefit, others also benefit. And then after you are dead and gone, you will see that to those to whom you distributed, they will do the same also. They will accept and they will distribute. In this way, one thing could be assured, that the knowledge would have reached many, many people. And also, the world has always seen atrocious rulers. I heard that when the Mughals came to India, one of the Mughal kings went to Nalanda University and he asked them, is there a Quran? And they said, no, it's not there. So he said, burned the whole university library. He said, they had thousands and lakhs of books, I heard. 6 months the library was burning, can you imagine? In Takshashila. What do you call it? Correct. Isn't it? So he ordered the library to be burned. So you can imagine how many valuable books must have been lost. So imagine if these books are printed and distributed worldwide, even if he burns one library, no problem. Now, if somebody in some country becomes angry with Prabhupada books, he burns Prabhupada books in one country, no problem. We have already distributed 60 crore literature. Hell with you. Do whatever you want. You burned the library, you also burned with it. We don't care because books have reached all over the world now. Nook and corner. Now in hard copy, soft copy, Kindle books, everything is reached now. Now nobody can be cheated now. Already it's available. In fact, there are devotees trying to come up with ideas on how this knowledge can be preserved for several thousands of years to come now. Already they are planning. In what way it should be preserved, they are saying. So, therefore, knowledge, if you keep it hidden, the example is given in Bhagavatam like a lamp kept in a pot. Cannot give light. The lamp has light, but the lamp should not be kept hidden. It should be the light should be distributed. Light represents knowledge. We say Jnana Deepam. In Bhagavatam also the word Jnana Deepam is used. In Bhagavad also Krishna says Jnana Deepena Bhasvata. He says, Tejame Vanakam Partam Aham Ajnanajam Tamaha Nashayamyatma Bhavasto Jnana Deepena Bhasvata. He says. So some people in our parampara, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first one after a long time. The Guru parampara, who very strongly felt he was an educated person and highly learned. And then when he got a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he felt, my Lord, Lord Chaitanya's character is so sublime, so pure. Na bhuto na bhavishyati. Nobody has given the dharma as sublime as Lord Chaitanya. And this is not only for Bengali people, this is for the whole world. Because he is teaching the culture of the soul towards God. Anybody can practice it. And in fact, Chaitanya's presentation of spiritual principles can completely stop all interreligious quarrels also. It can, because it goes beyond all the material coverings of, caste, creed, color, nationality, gender, and all those things. It goes beyond all of that. It is purely on a spiritual platform. He's teaching the Shikshashtaka verses, if you see, it is a cry of the soul for the Lord. He has presented it so purely. Not only by his own teachings, by his own example, by his own pastimes, and through his followers also. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur immediately felt that he saw Chaitanya's teachings on one hand, on the other hand, he saw the 13 Apasampradayas, and he felt very sad that the Vaishnava Siddhanta is so pure, but yet it is not known to the people, not respected and ignored, and people are getting into Maya. So this one category is Apasampradaya fellows. Another category is the learned Indian students. They were becoming more westernized. That was another thing. Then he also found that Indian scholars, they were actually not respecting Bhagavatam. They were thinking that all this Agasur, Bakasur, Vada and all is like for children play story. Therefore, he wrote a book called Krishna Samhita, where he explained each of this, pastimes, how deep message is conveyed, the Srimad Bhagavatam through that. Each of them represents a demon also. So some 24 demons. So he wrote that Krishna Samhita book. And he found some college youth in those days following Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Brahmoism, and, this Arya Samajis, Arya Samaj and Brahmoism, all these things they were following. So in order to remove their misconceptions, he wrote books like Prema Pradeep. He wrote a book. In Prema Pradeep, he gradually brings out how there was a Yogi Baba who apparently is a yogi, but he's a pure devotee also. He teaches these two students who goes to his ashrama and stays about the glory of deity worship. Similarly, he wrote this Jaiva Dharma like a novel. There's a Paramahamsa Das Babaji who has a disciple called Raghunath Das. So through these characters, such a beautiful novel, anybody reads it's like interesting movie type of thing, you keep reading. But lot of philosophy is given into that, and all the questions that anybody will ask are clarified, impersonalism, personalism, Ashtanga Yoga, everything. So of course these books are all very exhaustive. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote more than 100 books, although he was a High Court magistrate. And so his idea was to take a multi-pronged approach. One is scholarly people, he attacked them through the books and presented. And he actually deeply respected the senior citizens and scholars. So he would invite them for discussions, sit with them and offer them respect and appreciation for the scholarship and everything. So many of them heard also. Slowly, Indian scholars started waking up during the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You will see that. On the other hand, he saw the Apasampradaya people. He tackled them by writing poems. Saragayat Takelem, what is that? Gauramilena. That's a song, no? Saragaya Makelate Laka Gauramilena. He says, that song is the same tune what Sahaja had written songs. Sahaja song's tune and his tune are similar. So many people hearing Sahaja songs, when they hear this, they will say, this is also similar, they will sing this. But this song is actually pulling the leg of Sahajas. It's telling the Sahajas, simply, you are wearing tilak, you are wearing kantimala, and you are doing illicit activities. And this is not Gauranga follower. And Gauranga follower is supposed to be a pure soul. He's supposed to be transparent, and he's supposed to be a man of high character. He can't be a cheater. So simply, that's what he is telling them. Simply, you claim to be a follower of Gauranga, but you are not following his achar and vichar. So he wrote songs, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by which similar type of songs, when people really woke up slowly, oh, those are cheaters and this is a real thing. That is Nakli, this is Asali. People understood that. So he wrote songs also. He wrote books also. He attended conferences. He invited conferences, brought people together. And he also kept himself in a place called Godrum Dweep, where that's the first place Lord Nityananda started preaching. So there he made his base. Why? To get Nityananda's blessings, to again start preaching in a big way. That's where the preaching was performed originally. So he had a house, but from there, I heard that he had some 1500 namatas, more than 2500 Bhakti Vrikshas, I heard. So he wrote a book called as Godruma Kalpatavi. That's a book, famous book. That book became the basis for his own Jayapataka Maharaja's book called Bhakti Vriksha book. Based on that only Maharajas made the Bhakti Vriksha and all this contact, cultivate, care, and expanding the preaching movement and all that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is considered a seventh Mahajan, or seventh Goswami. So from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they are all called modern day Mahajans. We had old Mahajanas, you all know 12 Mahajans. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahalado, Janako, Bhishma, Balir, Vyasakir, and Shukadeva Goswami. So, of course, their example is also there, but their examples are very exalted. But in the modern times, you also find similar, very powerful personalities like Bhaktivinoda Thakur onwards. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was praying to Lord Krishna for a ray of Vishnu to be born to him, who will actually take his mission ahead after his demise, he thought. And he got his divine grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he was very powerful Acharya. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually did good work, and then Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, he, understanding the mission of Lord Chaitanya and his father, he started establishing mathas. 64 mathas he established. So through those mathas, his whole idea was a matha will be like a university, where the students can come and stay. They can study the spiritual literature, like Lord Chaitanya's literatures, Goswami's literatures, everything. And then not only they should study, from there it should be like a preaching, vigorous preaching center. How do you know that? You will see in front of the deities, only in the same temple hall, I had made a printing press. Can you imagine? If you say, even today, and that printing machine he got from Cleveland. Cleveland, USA. From there he got the machine in his times. And the people could hear the sound, kata, 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 kata. Everybody coming to the temple will see, they will ask, what is this sound? They will say, please take the books. We are printing and distributing books. Everybody will be taking books. So he was printing magazine almost every day. He was printing. So one man asked, Swamiji, how can you print a magazine every day about God? Maybe a little bit you can write, but how can you print every day? So Valsana Thakur told him, actually every minute I can give you a magazine, only you are not having time to read. He said, if you're ready to read every moment, I can give you a magazine about Krishna. He said. So he was a vigorous preacher. The vigorous missionary spirit of Bhaktivinoda Thakur came out in the form of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. So I heard that he would get sometimes, on a single day, he would get 1 or 2 bullock carts of letters. That many letters would come, and he would dictate to his disciples. Anytime he would be walking, there will be 5-6 people around him, disciples, taking dictation and response to those letters. and they would get it typed and they would reply back like that all over the country. When he would travel in trains, every station he would stop, and standing at the door of the train, he will give a lecture to always 300-400 people will come to each station. He was like a spirited preacher, lion guru. It is said, Bhakti Thakur. So even today, you will find there are many foreign disciples of Bhakti Thakur. Even he had some foreign disciples from Germany and uh, London and other places. He also had some disciples, but he had a few. And he had a very great aspiration also that the message should be taken all over the world, which our Srila Prabhupada did in a very, very powerful way. Reaching out the message to nook and corner of the world. Even if you go to Arctica, Antarctica poles, you may find a Prabhupada's book there. Quite possible. Like that, they have reached to even islands, distant islands also. So the spirit means, what is the spirit, what is the activity, what is the difference between the two? Like Prahlad Maharaj had the spirit of compassion. He says in that verse, Naitan vihaya kripanan vimamokshayeko nanyam tadasya sharanam brahmato anupashye. In that verse, he says the spirit, missionary spirit. It begins like this. Prayena deva munayaha svabhimukti kaman maunam charanti vijanena pararthanishta naitan vihaya kripanan vimamokshayeko nanyam tadasya sharanam brahmato anupashye. He says, there are many rishis, munis going to jungle and doing their own self-purification and getting moksha and going. And I don't want to be one of them, he says. Rather, I want to be one who actually goes out, does Harinam Sankirtan, distributes books, distributes prasad, connects new people, suffering souls, and then send the suffering souls back home, back to Godhead. Finally, I will go after dispatching everybody. This is Prahlad's spirit. And what is the opposite spirit? In those days, I used to go to one center. No, only 2 fellows will be sitting when I would go, and they are also inmates only. I would ask them, hey, where are the boys? Prabhu, we have already told them that in this place program happens. Now, we have told them 3 months ago. Everybody knows it. If they want to come, they will come, Prabhuji. Now, none of them have come today. So you can give class to us. They said. I told them, you see, if you don't go and call them, give me your pant shirt, I am going to wear now. I will wear pant shirt and I will go and call them. Immediately they got up and ran. When they called, 20 boys came. I said, just see. No, Prabhuji, if you push, they come, but we don't feel like pushing them. No. Kya, Prabhuji, every time going and calling them. On their own, they should come. Like that they were saying. No, I said, what Lord Chaitanya said, Prati gare gare gi ya koro ye bhiksha. He says, you should go door to door. Our movement is called what movement? Door to door movement. You should go and call. He says, Mahaprabhu doesn't say, you sit in one place and they will come to you. Does he say that? We have to go door to door. He says, Pati gare gare gi, is saying. And then request the people to take to Krishna consciousness. On their own, they will not take. Just like when a patient gets very sick, then doctor comes to home. You've seen that? When does doctor come to home? When a patient is so sick, he can't get up from the bed also. So amongst the 4 yugas, which people are in that category? Kali Yuga. Therefore, the spiritual doctor should go to their homes. Don't expect you sit in the jungle and patients will come to you. They will not come. In the Vedic time, Satya Tirtha Yuga, people will go to forest to meet the rishis, munis. Now people are not so much, enthusiastic. They are so dull in spiritual life. We have to go door to door. So, therefore, we need the spirit first. If spirit is there, then the activity will come. So I told you about Prahlad. I told you about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I told you about Prabhupada. You can talk about Vasudeva Datta, who was ready to take the sins of all the living entities in the world. And he was ready to go to hell so that they all can go back to God. You can see that. Haridas Thakur not only was chanting, he was also preaching also. He was traveling place to place, singing the holy name loudly. Out of his 3 lakh names, 2 lakh names he would chant. 1 lakh he would chant like japa, like we do. Another 1 lakh he would do in the mind. Upamsu we call it. Another third 1 lakh names he will chant loudly, by singing, like we do kirtan in the streets like that. Then many, many people would come and connect through that. He was a very vigorous preacher also, and that's what frightened the Mughals. They thought that this fellow will make many others into devotees like him. They thought like that. So, although he was beaten up in 21 marketplaces, you can see, he said every khanda khanda, He said, my body, you can cut it into pieces. Every piece will chant Hare Krishna. He said, you can do whatever you want. He was so bold. Now, can any of us say we are tortured like that for preaching? Our problems are insignificant. He was such a vigorous preacher. Prahlad Maharaj, just because he was a devotee, how much Hiranyakashipu tortured him? Correct, no? So these people are not just preachers, they were laying down their life for preaching. You will see that. Prahlad Maharaj or Haridas Thakur, Jesus. Jesus was crucified on the cross. Jesus was told by the king, see, I am not against you, but all these people are saying that because, people are following Old Testament and then the New Testament came subsequently. In every religion, you will find there are two roads. One road is the ritualistic Brahmanas, for example, puja part doing Brahmanas, and they have this denominations, I am a Brahman and you all should worship me and things like that. And similarly, in Christians also, there is churchianity and Christianity, we call it. Churchianity means, you are a pope and you have a bishop, you have abbot, and all those, you have rabbi and all those names they have. And these guys are sitting within the church and they are not doing anything. They just want respect, but they are not preaching and propagating love of God. They do some rituals and rites and baptizing people, and they are more or less collecting donation and doing sense gratification, like that. So on the other hand, Jesus propagated love of God. He said, you don't need all these rituals and rites. You call out the Lord's name, hallow the name of God with your heart, and then lead a pure life. We are all children of God. So that kind of thing he was preaching. Just like Haridas Thakur versus Brahman. Brahmanas, if you see. Hindu Brahmanas didn't like Haridas Thakur also. So because they thought that, because Brahmanas thought we will get dakshina from people by keeping people under our control. But then Haridas Thakur said, you don't need anything. All you need is chant the holy name. All this Riti Rivaj and all you give up, you just chant the holy name. So they all became inimical. They thought what will happen to our remuneration. So therefore they want to put Jesus on cross. So the king told Jesus that you just say two things. All the knowledge that I gave to the world till now is false. And I just claim to be son of God, but I am not son of God. I'm a normal person. That's all you have to say. If you say, you will not be put on the cross. Did Jesus agree? Jesus said, what are you talking? How can you speak a lie? It's a fact that, it's a fact that I am son of God. And the knowledge I am giving for love of God is ultimate knowledge. So, yeah, you will find that that there is always opposition for missionary activities. And that also can discourage some of the missionary people. We may see the opposition and get frightened. And we may tend to think that better that I don't preach, because if I preach, I may be punished, I may be taken to task. Better that apna dekho. That's also one possibility. So therefore, I told you two categories of people. One are the people who keep the knowledge with themselves. Other category people, the missionary people, no matter what, they are very daring, reaching out the knowledge to the people. And because of such good souls reaching out the knowledge, the whole world is benefiting now. And we are able to, benefit, and we are seeing the results. So, when there is a spirit in the heart, then only there can be missionary activities. Now, what are the missionary activities I told you? Like, for example, publishing the books and reaching out the books to the conditioned souls. Because books can reach where you cannot reach. Like, for example, there may be college hostels where you are not allowed to go. But if you make pocket books, they go everywhere. And why pocket books? Pocket books people read first. And after they read the pocket book, it's like you go to a shop, they have this kurumara and this patana and all those things. Any shop you go there, they'll give you a little bit. You've seen that? Is he a fool to give you a little bit free? Why is he giving? Anybody knows? When you take a little bit and put in the mouth, immediately you will say that, hey, you spoiled my tongue. Okay, give me 1 kilo. Then you will take. Correct, no? That's why they give like that. Similarly, you give a pocket book, they read that, hey, I'm interested now. Where can I know more? You're given reference there. Correct. Now, nowadays, they give even this QR code in the book. You keep a QR code, they will immediately take the smartphone. Immediately they get all, more books they get. They can order for more books. They can come to the place where there is program. So it's not at all difficult to reach people. I personally Used to go to the colleges, the hostels with the pocketbooks. And I used to here also, when I go to room like that, those boys who buy the books, the pocketbooks. Next week I will again come to the hostel and I'll bat to the door and ask them, did you read the book? Oh, I read it. I liked it. I have some questions. You will say, okay, come, let's sit. Then the discussion starts. Once they read the knowledge, then what starts? Discussion starts. Then question answer. Then further adding value to their life, adding knowledge, that then it becomes possible. Otherwise, there's a very big iron curtain. You say that, there are, our country has secularism. You cannot, you cannot talk about any god or religion, everything. Secularism is nowadays becoming atheism now. Secularism actually doesn't mean atheism. Secularism means every dharma person should be allowed freedom to practice what he wants to practice. Truly speaking, secularism means sarva dharma samabhavana. Huh? But is it what is being followed nowadays? Huh? If you see, it is turning into atheism now. So therefore, when there is a spirit, missionary spirit in your heart, or we borrow the spirit from Prabhupada and Acharyas, and then we have missionary activity. Activity means like reaching the books to the people, reaching the holy name to people, reaching prasadam to the people. And not only sitting in a big temple stoutly in some remote corner. Sometimes you go in a train, you see somebody has built an organization or a big temple in some remote forest. And people only go there like a tourist spot. Once in a blue moon they go. That's not the purpose of organization. Organization should be easily available. So we should start small centers in nook and corner of the city for deeper penetration and easy approachability to people. You can see that people like Pepsi people, people like McDonald's and all these fellows, they reach very easily. Even during this COVID time also, the first thing they started supplying home to home is liquor bottles. Because they were saying many of the drunkards are suffering without liquor shops open. So government is now thinking of make it easily available. We will go and supply them bottles so that they can destroy themselves. Correct now? Huh? So they are going and supplying liquor bottles. How much more we should be supplying the spiritual knowledge? Think about it. So therefore, the spiritual activity is important. You just send a couple of brahmacharis to a village. They should go to a village. Send them with I'm telling you, don't even give them a single penny. You tell them, even today's food, you don't ask. You find out yourself. I'm telling you, it is not at all difficult. Two brahmachari only with dhoti kurta, you send them to any village in India. Don't give them money for the bus also. It is very easy. They can hitchhike and go to a village, go to some temple, ring a bell, take some prasad, whatever is available in the temple, like that, and then do Harinam Sankirtan in the street. One fellow can play mridanga, other fellow can play kartal. Just do kirtan, and go to a temple and tell the pujari that, please give me a chance to worship your deity. I can stay in your temple. Anybody will allow you. There is one brahmachari like that in South India. So he just went to a temple and they immediately allowed him. They said, we're looking for somebody to take care of the deity. You come here. So he stayed in the temple and they gave him a room also to stay. And they're giving him prasadam. So he offers to the deity. And then a lot of people are coming. In the weekend, 200-300 people come. So he started a children program. Now, along with children, parents also sat. Then he started one parents program. Then first children program, parents program. Now there are 100 people in touch with him. Single brahmachari now. You can see that. So it's not at all difficult actually. This is the meaning of missionary. Missionary means one who takes risk. He goes to a place which is unknown. He takes the risk of reaching out the message of God to the people, suffering people. His goal is nothing other than only one goal he has: how to take all these people back home, back to Godhead. Singular goal. And he doesn't even think that I have to go back to Godhead. He only thinks, I have to please Guru and Krishna by helping these people to connect to God and go back to Godhead. That's all. That's the way he thinks. So that is the meaning of missionary activity. So like Prabhupada, how did he do missionary activity? He went to the West, he cooked himself, distributed prasadam to the hippies. He was a single man, right? In the early days when ISKCON, even before ISKCON started. He was staying in Agarwal's house for 3 months. Then he stayed with Mishra studio for some time. Later on, he was practically in the street. He said, I don't know, I have to go left or right. He didn't know. And then finally, they got a place in the storefront, matchless gifts for him. He started, then nobody was coming for 1 year. So he didn't come back to India. He said, you guys are not coming, I will come to the park where you guys are sitting. He went to the park where boys, girls would be smoking, drinking. He went and sat in the middle of them. I'll do kirtan. If you want to join, you join. Otherwise, do what you want. How much daring you can see that. Actually, we have such a great hero in our movement to take as a role model. So, actually, you may not be able to do such a thing like what Prabhupada did, but at least we can take inspiration from that and do a little bit of what he did. So, that is a missionary activity. And what is its importance? No. If you don't flourish spiritual wisdom, you will perish. That's all. That is sure. That is the importance. Because modern day society is going at a very fast pace. Now the social media and media explosion has happened all over the world. People are bombarding all dirty things all over the world. If you don't bombard spiritual knowledge, you are going to be left behind, and the whole world impurities will take over. Just like what happened post Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's period. How the Babajis, pure Babajis, Vaishnavas, they thought that we will purely practice, jisko aana ho aayega, jisko nahi aana ho jayega. They were thinking like and practicing. But then the impurities took over. 13 apasampradayas came. So similarly, if we don't preach the importance of missionary activities, if you don't preach, people will not come to know. So therefore, vigorous preaching is required. When His Grace Amogala Prabhu came to Pune online once, we asked him a question, how they started preaching in Delhi. So he was sharing it very nicely. He was telling that Janmashtami time, lakhs of people would come and go. They just took the database in forms and everything, and nobody could follow it up, because then you have to type the form into the computer and all that. Few years went like that, he said. Suddenly we woke up to see that we are not tapping the database well. Then later on, they directly started. When the people have to go inside, they have to give their data and then only they can go. They directly put in the computer. And then he said in database and computer was also swelling up. Lakhs and lakhs of database, what to do? Then after a few years, they decided that now let us have a channel. They made this, what do you call it? My Ashray channel they started. And they told all the people, when you're going into the temple, you join this channel because you will get all nice videos and information. Then they started doing it and lakhs of people became subscribers. And they have crossed 1 million now. So then what they did through that became a very good platform for different nice preachers to give their lectures. They give their lectures. And people, naturally, when it comes into your mobile and it is popping up, you have two pop-ups, one nasty pornography pop-up, another one is Hare Krishna pop-up. So when two choices are, that means you reach into their mobile. Hey, I'm here, choose me. You become a competitor. You have become a competitor to the nasty pop-ups, correct? No? Otherwise, you are sitting under a tree, I'm giving Bhagavad Gita discourse. Anybody want to come? Nobody will come. And the world is changing. That's what they did. And people started clicking and connecting and watching. Eventually, hundreds and thousands and lakhs. And now millions of people are watching. Now people almost, in India, any average person knows about ISKCON. People also have heard Amaglapu and many other videos. And eventually people have understood the philosophy, what these people are saying. Many have developed faith also. And people are becoming true followers now. Many powerful people are connecting now. Same with Vivek Bindra also. He openly propagates Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada's glory and everything. So, this is the way people come to know the movement on a large scale, if you see. And every preacher has some basis or the principle based on which they preach. So, when we preach like that, when we reach to people, when the awareness is created, and the importance of missionary spirit means being available to people and propagating it to the best of our ability. Prabhupada says enthusiasm means what? Endeavoring with intelligence. That's very important. If you are not endeavoring with intelligence, only endeavoring is it enough? Only endeavoring? Only endeavoring is hard work. Endeavoring with intelligence is smart work. You know the story. Once there was a big pot with a half pot of water, and a crow came and sat in the jar. But the crow was wondering how to drink water. So, if you don't drink water, you'll remain thirsty. So what did the crow do? He got the stones and put the stones and the water level rose and he drank. So he's considered an intelligent crow. He found out a way by means by which he can reach to the water. Correct, no? So, but even that crow is not considered a smart crow. He's a hard crow. hardworking grow. Because one stone to bring and put, it takes time, correct? No? Some preachers, in order to reach the people, they work too hard. They work very hard to get even a handful of audience. A lot of struggle is there nowadays. Mm. But another crow was a smart crow. What he did, he went to a juice shop and took a straw. Got it. He drank water very quickly. And his job was done in a very short time. So, in the same manner, the purpose of missionary activity means what? Three things are very important: the teacher, the student, and the dwell time. Anybody who is smart enough to arrange for these three things, that means the teacher should be equipped. You should be truly genuine teacher, Krishna conscious teacher. You should be genuine practitioner, transparent, via media of the Guru Parampara. And he's not a cheater, he's not nakli, he's asli. Teacher should be proper. And the student should be inquisitive. Student should have sincerity, seriousness, inquisitiveness. And they should have a dwell time, means the teacher and student should sit and when the subject matter is being spoken. There are so many things which keep the modern day people busy. So in spite of the busy thing, they should be able to make themselves available. That's the whole thing. And in that way, then the knowledge will be transmitted. Correct, no? That's the whole purpose. So now let's proceed and say, please read it quickly. No. Where's the mic? Give the mic, yeah. Yeah, the mic only should read.
Missionary work is a very important aspect of Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Prabhupada. Preaching is like a head of our Krishna consciousness society. If the head is removed, the whole body dies. Letter to many devotees, 3rd December 1971. Srila Prabhupada. Preaching is
See, so preaching is like, is comparing it to what? Head in the body. Can you imagine? That means if you are not preaching, you are gone. Prabhupada says that preaching is like the head of our society. If you are not preaching, see, a man can, Prabhupada said, money in a moment is like the shoulders. Hands and legs, he says. Management and money is like the shoulders. Sometimes even if hand is broken, management is not the Prabhupada said, preaching is happening, still good. You are not able to manage so well. Problems are there, no problem. But preaching is not there, your head is gone. Yeah, read.
Preaching is the most important business. Although my personal service is also important, the preaching work comes first. I want every one of our men to become first class preacher. Letter to Pushta Krishna of 25th July 1970.
See, I want every one of our men to become first class preachers, Prabhupada is saying. And preaching work comes first, he says. More than his personal service, Sir Prabhupada valued it. See, in the picture I have shown, everybody in this world thinks of what? Immediate needs, prayers. He's thinking of family, car, job, building a house, and currency notes. Every man is thinking these things only. Even as students, your immediate concern is what? How will I get good marks? After that, final year, what is the concern? How will I get placed? After getting placed in a company, what is the next concern? Promotion. After getting promoted, you become 28, 30. What is the next one? Marriage. After marriage, then babies. After babies, how to admit in a school. There's no end to that. This goes everybody, 99.99999% people are doing that only. So you also can join that same rut if you want. Or you can think differently. Instead of prayers, let me think Shreyas. The man spends his whole life without aiming at the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is Shreyas actually. See here, below the picture below, you have a choice. If you make spiritual inquiry, you go back to Godhead. If you don't make a spiritual inquiry and join the rut, then one is demoted to lower forms. See? Yeah.
Following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious practices gives us the purity, the force, the strength to preach.
So you may ask, Prabhuji, I am not very confident to preach. How can I preach? So here he gives, so the Krishna conscious practices should be taken seriously. So the two things basically, ABCDE and the 4 regs. So if you follow these two things very strictly, then the purity will be increased. Then the vigor will come. Just like, for example, if you have a firewood, if you sprinkle water in that, the firewood becomes very, moist. And then you put in a chula. Will the fire come out? What will come out? Smoke. Therefore, many of the youngsters nowadays, why are they not able to go out to preach? Because they have lost the potency. They have lost the potency by watching pornography. And some of them connecting with girls, the old friends and all, calling, they're talking. So by that, Prabhupada says, push, 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 talking to girls. And what strength you will have to preach, tell me? You will become impotent. You will have no Shakti to preach at all. So if one is doing illicit sex, or one is breaking any of the regulative principles, or one is not doing the spiritual activities very focused in one pointed way, like association of devotees. Prabhupada says, what is association? Prabhupada says, he's giving a class. Prabhupada says, come and live in our center. Prabhupada is saying. And they are saying, Swamiji, no, we will visit. No visiting. Come and stay here. He says, if you come and stay here, he says, then you will get up in the morning. Otherwise, from your place, can you get up in the morning? You cannot. In our center, everybody is getting up in the morning. So you will also rise in the morning. And if you are here, by association, you will learn how to wear dhoti kurta, how to wear tilak. And in our center, you will eat only prasad. You will not eat any sinful food. And by staying in our center, you will learn the philosophy. And you will know how to do Sankirtan. Then you will join the Sankirtan soldiers in going out and distributing books. And then you will seriously consider that this life is so wonderful. Why not I dedicate my life to this? And in case you become brahmachari, after 2 years you feel like marrying. Prabhupada says you marry, then your wife also can be a preacher. Both of you go out in Sankirtan. Prabhupada in America had a brahmacharini ashram. Even married families, husband will live with brahmacharis and wife will live with the ladies ashram. And if they want to beget children, then they'll take permission, blessing from Prabhupada. Then they will go to their home, parents' home. They may stay for a month or so and then come back. They use the sex only for procreation. Other times, just engage in preaching, propagating. So marriage is not a stumbling block for progressing in Krishna consciousness and preaching. So in this way, purity and the strength to preach comes from these two things. The 5 positive things, A, B, C, D, A. And the 5 negative things which should be given up. The 4 negative things. So it's very precisely Prabhupada has given in his books. Read further, Sankirtan Yajna.
Sankirtan Yajna, Srila Prabhupada. Whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 52nd verse.
Yes, you all know that. Please repeat. Krite yadhyayato Vishnum Tretayam yajato makhai Dwapare paricharyayam Kalau tat Hari Kirtanat. That's the translation. Next one, Sri Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada, in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter.
This is which was it? Krishna Varnam, Krishnam, that is the verse. So, we should be convinced of this fact. That Sankirtan Yajna is the best thing to do. Like see, Prabhupada was convinced, therefore he could convince the hippies in the West, mantra meditation. Yeah. Yeah, read it? Mike. Like this?
What is the process of giving Kesi to others?
What is Kesi?
Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
What preaching really means? What is the philosophy behind preaching? How preaching should be performed?
Yeah. So what is the process of giving Krishna consciousness to others? I told you many things. It's not that only sitting in a Vyasasana and giving a lecture. We generally tend to think that is preaching. In fact, going room to room and giving Prabhupada books, that is also preaching. Or cooking nice prasad. There is one husband-wife in America. They were there in Alabama. He studied, one of our boys. Now he has moved to Amsterdam now. So now how they preach, the wife is very good in cooking very tasty prasad. And she is ready to cook for any number of people. Very enthusiastic wife. They have a Gaurnita deity at home. So she makes dress for the deities, jewelry for the deity and cooks prasad. She's expert at it and very loving and caring motherly lady. And husband is a very vigorous preacher. So he called many Western people, 20, 30 Western people. One yogini, one yoga teacher. She brought her 10 students. So some 20, 25 people. He would call them to the house. He plays nice mridanga, he plays. He does kirtan. So long kirtan they do. Half an hour, 45 minutes kirtan they do. And then about 20 minutes, half an hour lecture they have, some discussion. And then nice prasad, dancing kirtan. People go back. So many Westerners became devotees like that. So therefore, preaching means making devotees. That's all. You have to make them into devotees. It can be through prasadam. It can be through, kirtans. It can be through lecture. It can be through distributing books. It can be through personal inspiration. By your own good behavior, you can preach. Like our Sir Lakshman Prabhu was standing in the Govindas. He's the head of the, he's a temple management council member for leading the Govindas. So one family was sitting and eating prasad. That Mataji, some outsider lady, she didn't know who Sir Lakshman Prabhu is. She said, "Hey, Zara," she went, "Ek spoon chahiye," like that she said. And Sir Lakshman immediately ran and brought a spoon and gave her. She said, "Thank you," and she accepted. And this was observed by one devotee, one initiated devotee. Some devotee sitting there in the Southern Govinda. And he became so inspired. He said, "Prabhuji is in such a senior position. He's a like vice president in the temple. And he's so unassuming. Here is a lady treating him like a waiter. Huh? May get me a spoon." But he didn't argue with her. "Hey, you know who I am?" He didn't say like that. He served like a servant. He became so pleased. Yesterday in the morning, he was saying, "Prabhu, because I am so inspired by Sir Lakshman Prabhu, whatever he wants to do, I want to assist him." So now he is doing a BTG marathon. So this devotee said, "I'll give 100 subscriptions, I'll get." Immediately, yesterday he took. So this is also preaching. Is it not preaching? By your good sadachar, good behavior, people see you. They say that, "Oh, this preacher touches my heart so much. Such a good soul. For this preacher's sake, I will preach." This is how the movement will expand. It's not by, preaching is not, we are very ahankari, very proud. We think we are very learned scholars and everybody should come and listen to our lecture. This kind of stereotyped ideas will not work. So there should be two things, Siddhanta and Sadachar, both. Sadachar means good behavior. Siddhanta means good understanding of philosophy, good foundation of philosophy. By Sadachar, you can attract people. By giving Siddhanta, you can make the people very strong and stable in spiritual life. And if you have only Sadachar, people will like you, but you don't have anything good to give. So they will not, in the long run, be able to become devotees. They may go to some other organization, but they will come to you only for feeling good. They will come. So therefore, Siddhanta giving is very important. But if you give only Siddhanta, but you are not having Sadachar, people will say that he knows a lot, he's a very knowledgeable person, but he's not good, he doesn't have good behavior. He's an arrogant person. I just don't like to even go near him at all. Nor am I interested to hear what he wants to say. Like that people will say. So, therefore, Siddhanta is like the eyes and Sadachara is like the legs, it is said. Why? Because if you may have the eyes, and if you have the legs, then you can go village to village, town to town and reach the tattva to the people. But if you have the tattva jnana, you have, but legs are broken, then you are handicapped. You can't reach out to people. So Siddhanta alone is not enough. Therefore, process of giving Krishna consciousness means Siddhanta and Sadachara both. And what preaching really means, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, preaching really means giving faith in Krishna in the hearts of people. Preaching really means giving faith in the holy name, holy names of Krishna. Preaching means turning common people into Krishna's devotees, which means the boy was an ordinary boy, wearing jeans and t-shirt which he never washed for 6 months. There are people like that. And then after 1 or 2 years, you find he has a short cut, Hare Krishna cut, a beautiful tilak, he has kantimala, he's handing 16 rounds, and he's very polite and well behaved. He knows the philosophy. So this is preaching. Preaching means you should make them proper devotees. And there is one category of people nowadays coming all across the globe. Many people, even in ISKCON also, the motivational speakers. So these people actually, their argument is newcomers are not interested directly in Siddhanta. So we should make them feel good in the beginning. And then after they feel good about us, then we can give them the Siddhanta. But the problem is we spend so much time in making them feel good, not hurting them, making them feel good. You teach them many mundane moral principles like, culture of sharing, culture of caring, culture of being friendly, culture of being sensitive, culture of being positive minded, culture of, doing some good to the some kind of good to the world, culture of polite speech, and all these things. They spend so much time in these things, but they don't tell them the truth that who is God? Krishna is God. And what is the ultimate dharma? Chant the holy name. And what should be avoided? The four sinful activities should be avoided. They don't tell these things. Because they don't tell these things to the people, people live sinful lives. So it is like blowing on the boil, Prabhupada said. Like, I have a boil, I'm suffering. I'm suffering. Similarly, people are feeling, inferiority complex, people are feeling negativity, people are feeling hopelessness, suicidal thoughts. And then you go and give them motivational talks. Blow on the boil. Yeah. And they say, thank you, thank you. I am very thankful to you. You relieved me from my inferiority complex. And then afterwards, go to somewhere else to give lecture. You are not available to blow. And again, what happens? Again, they're singing and there's nobody. Therefore, blowing on the boil, is it good? So it's useless, it is. Instead, what you tell them, okay, you are feeling this pain, don't worry, here is ointment. Apply the ointment, it will be gone. And the ointment is chanting Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna, become a devotee, give up the four sinful activities. You tell the truth. When you tell the truth, they follow the truth, then only the disease will go. So, therefore, preaching really means, teaching the truth. Preaching the truth, not just cheating them with superficial motivational talks. Yeah. And also, the biggest problem is what? When you give superficial motivational talks, which most of the world likes to hear, because people want something that pampers them instantly. But they don't want to pay the price for long-term, commitment and all. Correct, no? For example, many boys will ask you, if you call them for a program, you know, how many classes I have to attend? If you say eternal program, they'll run away. Correct, no? Therefore, we have courses. We have a 6-session course. Correct, no? If you give short courses, people are ready to come. See, you brush. If somebody asks how many days I have to brush, throughout life you have to brush. Correct, no? Otherwise, mouth will sting. Somebody asks, Prabhuji, how many times I have to take bath now? Every day you have to take bath. Correct, no? Somebody asking, Prabhuji, I'm bored with eating. How many times I have to eat? Every day, 3 times you have to eat. So these activities you do throughout life, then why can't practice spiritual life? So we have to honestly tell them, if you don't brush your teeth, your mouth will stink. If you don't chant the holy name, your mind will stink. And mind will stink means lust, anger, greed will increase. When it increases, neither you will be happy nor you will make others happy. But you chant the holy name, this lust, anger, and greed are kept under control. And mind is purified. When it is purified, then by your good behavior, you are happy, others are happy. You have to honestly tell them that is preaching. And what is the philosophy behind preaching? That we already discussed. The philosophy behind preaching this message is, Krishna says, Nachadasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakrit tamaha. Krishna says, priyakrit means very dear, dear. Priyakrit tara means more dear. Priyakrit tama means superlative. He says, if somebody preaches this message, like look at Prabhupada, is going to the West and preaching, look at the devotees are so cheerful, so happy. And Prabhupada, in that old age also, he was so enthusiastic in telling the knowledge. And what did he preach especially? He said, life always comes from life. Life doesn't come from matter. You are Prabhupada challenged. I will give you the chemicals. You prepare a chicken and show me. And Prabhupada said, chicken is a better scientist than you, Prabhupada said. Because chicken doesn't speak much. It puts a egg. And it produces small chicks. At least it's doing some good work. And he told scientists, you talk big things, you can't produce one chicken or one mosquito also. So the chicken is a better scientist, he said. And one man asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, in Bible we say the first created living beings are Adam and Eve. So what about the Vedas? Do they agree that Adam and Eve are the original? Like that he asked. Prabhupada said, Vedas say that Brahma is the first created living being. And then all other living beings came, he said. But then the man said, therefore I am wondering, Swamiji, it doesn't appear to be matching to what we say. Prabhupada said, why do you want a one-on-one match? Maybe you can take Brahma as Adam. Prabhupada said like that. And then Prabhupada said, see, one agreement between Bible and Vedas is, Vedas also say there is Brahma. Bible also says there is Adam. But both are talking about two living persons, and God is also a living person. In that way we have agreement. But we don't say man came from monkey. like the modern man says. You know. So Prabhupada said that is bogus. Because so Prabhupada was vehemently protesting against Darwin's bogus theory about man coming from the apes. So he was preaching, he was not preaching some old knowledge to the new people. He was actually attacking the very root of materialistic culture. He was attacking the root. Two main things. I'll just show you just 1 minute. See this point about it, we evolved from branches to benches. And these kind of things, cheating things, they are cheating the people in the colleges and schools. One is the source of cosmos, correct? Na? The source of everything. Where did the universe come from? See the contemporary worldview and the Vedic worldview. Contemporary worldview is everything originated from Big Bang. There is no God whatsoever. Vedic worldview is God created everything and everyone. The very word cosmos means orderly, harmonious, systematic universe. These are the things Prabhupada established. Prabhupada asked, who is the operator of the cosmic machine? You are the operator of the bodily machine. Who is the operator of cosmic machine? So did everything come from a Big Bang or everything came from Supreme Lord? Supreme Lord is the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhu. These are things we should tell the boys. We should challenge the very root of the talk. Let there be heated argument. And Prabhupada was willing for heated arguments. Because let us put the facts on the table without any fear. So, like, Prabhupada used to ask, so your father and his father, So father of all your fathers, is it a stone chunk which exploded and came? Or it should be a living person like this? Huh? You have to accept a living person. Therefore, Prabhupada presented the truth very boldly. This is real preaching. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhu, and the source of all spiritual material. Prabhupada says, see, Krishna says and we agree. If you don't agree, you tell us. You tell us who is the source. In the event of you not knowing, you have to accept what we are saying. That is the argument. Krishna says, Gamavishyaja bhutani dharayamyahamojasa. He says, I enter into each planet by my energy and they stay in the orbit. For example, even a scientist puts a Sputnik. And it's not that he is sitting in the Sputnik. He is sitting in control room. There are unmanned probes, you know that? Where they send. How are they managing it? From the control room. Correct, no, from the control. If you can sit in the control room and manage a Sputnik, can Krishna sit in Goloka and manage all the planets? Yeah. Another thing Prabhupada attacked was the source of life and its symptoms. So contemporary worldview is the first living organism. Theory of evolution, it developed from non-living matter. As currently, this is called neo-Darwinism, because Darwin never said life came from matter. He didn't say that. He said there were 2 or 3 living forms that God created, and after that, how evolution took place, he said. But this is by Dawkins, who wanted to remove God from the picture. So he was talking about spontaneous generation theory, which is so-called life arising from matter and everything. So Prabhupada attacked it very strongly. See what he said. An ordinary lemon tree produces tons of citric acid. But from citric acid, no scientist has produced a lemon tree. Is it not true? So you will see when you are living, stool comes, urine comes from your body, vomit comes, all chemicals come out of your body. But from a dead body, if you combine the chemicals, can you make life? Cannot. So Prabhupada challenges that. Source of life is symptoms come from the soul, the driver of the material bodily machine. So, and this is another thing. What is life? What is death? So Prabhupada challenged it. Like this fellow is asking, Swamiji, I think our body is just a complex machine that gets worn out and crashes. Why should we bother about some soul powering the body? One scientist is asking, Prabhupada says, does your car or computer grow? Do you have a male and female car that can unite and produce a baby car? A living body undergoes 6 changes, whereas matter just depreciates. It is the soul that makes living body alive. So in this way, you will find this is actual preaching. Prabhupada did such wonderful preaching. Then another thing Prabhupada preached is what is? Goal of life. Powerful. So these are the things we should preach. Like here you see, According to contemporary worldview, the goal of life is the pursuit and attainment of material comforts and pleasures. Money, money, money. Money is honey. Whole world is on a rat race for two things: money and sense gratification, which means Hiranya and Kashipu. And out of the two also, money is also for what? Sense gratification. You ask any college boy, why are you working so hard? I want a degree. Why a degree? I want a good job, get placed in a job. Why you want a good job? So that I can make a lot of money. And with money, what you will do? Eat, drink, and be merry. And then what? Die. That's all. Simply foolish, utterly foolish. Like, just before COVID, there was one boy who got a job, 14 lakh per annum. Imagine if any of our boys get, how much boys will be jumping. 14 lakh per annum is more than a lakh per month, isn't it? So that boy is teaching a Hare Krishna devotee. Hey, you are just chanting Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And that devotee got some 6 lakh per annum job. He was teasing him. But then this boy was doing job probably for about 4 years. He worked there. How much he must have saved in 4 years? 4 into 14 lakhs? 56 lakhs he saved. But when COVID time came, he was knocked down by COVID, he died. So his Hare Krishna devotee friend was saying, this fellow was an atheist. Now in 4 years what he did, he moved the money from company's account to his account and he died and went away. That's all. So in this world, everybody is moving money from one account to another account and leaving it behind and going away. There is material life. Spiritual life means you know that the only thing that will go with you is what? Bhakti Sukruti. You know that. Chanting Hare Krishna, worship of the Lord, study of the scriptures, Navida Bhakti. Goes with you. So therefore, these people have no goal of life. See, Vedic worldview says, the goal of life is to realize the self and God. This brings unlimited bliss and makes material comforts and pleasures seem insignificant. Initially, everybody is in Annamaya, food. Then Pranamaya, people join the rat race, competition of the world. Then Manomaya, they dream about ambitions and everything. Then they come to Vijnanamaya, which is self-realization. Then Anandamaya, they are joyful with God, Bhakti. So Krishna consciousness gives you the 5th degree pleasure, highest, the topmost pleasure, Anandamaya. So the Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya are for refined human beings. So ISKCON is applying, wisdom for the most refined people who are searching for the best thing in life. Other people are like kids, playing with the toys of car and bungalow and dollar notes. They are like kids only. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj was telling, in America, sometimes in cars you find a slogan, one who dies with maximum toys is a winner, like that. So Maharaj was telling, see, one who dies means you don't carry with you. Whatever toys you accumulate in your life, you leave it behind and go. That's one thing he said. Another thing, even though they grow in body and age, their mentality is Bala Buddhi only, because they say one who dies with toys, they're saying. Accumulating toys only, Bala Buddhi. They don't know anything beyond that. So search for food, like child, eat food, go to sleep. Eat food, go to sleep. But after you grow a little bit, then you fight. Competition. Bago, dauda, rat race, everybody. You go to this Hinjawadi area in the morning, you can see how many cars. You seen that? How the inch by inch, like that. You seen? But there is no use of a car. Stop, and then 2 inches, and then stop, 2 inches. And everybody is doing it. And how long they are doing it? Daily they are doing it. Day in and day out, morning, evening again. So this is all a joining the rat race. So that is a rat race. And monomaya means certain things you cannot get in life, so you dream about it. Like somebody has a dream girl, you can't marry her. She ran away with another boy. Then what they will do? They'll go to a movie and see. Because they put themselves in the hero's role. And there's a very beautiful actress who comes, they think, hey, she's coming to me only. Imagining. Or the hero has got 10, 20 men with him, and heroine has got 10, 20 ladies with her. And they're dancing in a garden. Then these guys know in real life it won't happen. Therefore, in the movie life, they enjoy it. And they're thinking, I have 20 men with me, and she has 20 girls with her, and we are dancing. So dream life, manomaya. So you get rid of these 3 stages of Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, then you come to Vijnanamaya, self-realization. Once you are awakened spiritually, you are not attracted to rat race. You get fed up with the rat race. You understand there is a meaningful endeavor in life means spiritual life. The soul is suffering, trapped in the material body. You have to get out of the material body and go back to Godhead. Vijnanamaya means you understand Aham Brahmasmi. And Anandamaya means Jiva Sarupa Hoy. This is the goal of life. And what happens when we act morally or immorally? So this is another thing Prabhupada spoke several times. See here, contemporary worldview says, hey, you are not accountable for whatever you do. You can get away with the consequences if you are clever enough. You can do whatever you want. Like Bill Clinton, he had illicit sex with a woman in the parliament, US parliament. And he thought, I'm such a big man, nobody can do anything to me. But some people found out. They put a court case on him. And he used the government money, big amount of dollars, to deny the case. They also gathered a big amount of dollars and proved that he is culprit. He did wrong. And then he was proved. It was proven that he did illicit sex. It was proven. So that means if you are clever enough and you have enough money and might and political power, you can dabofy. You know dabofying? What is dabofying? You can suppress the truths. Modern times, you can even hide a watermelon inside a rice or something like that. So these rogues and rascals, they have no understanding of what is karma. So they think they can do whatever they want. And they think that if you're clever enough, you can escape. People think like that. On the other hand, you see, you are accountable for your every act. The law of karma is an infallible justice. There is karma, vikarma, and akarma. Pious action, sinful action, and working for God. So when you know these things, then only you can act properly in this world. You will avoid sinful activities. You will do virtuous activities. You will align with God. Yeah. You can see this. Somebody is beautiful, somebody is ugly, somebody is handsome, somebody is, somebody is thinking great, somebody is like this, autistic. Somebody becomes an MD doctor, somebody is a coolie lifting so much weight. And why we have these differences? Although we all choose a job or a spouse or a car and all, ultimately, we don't choose our parents or beauty, a face cut or anything. So, and what type of life contemporary Vedic outlook brings for individuals, for the world, you see? These people are teaching eat, drink and be merry and go to hell. And it results in exploitation of the other people and disharmony. Like you see the Ukraine and Russia war. These are all because of eat, drink and be merry culture. If everybody is uncontrolled in their senses, Adanta Govir, Vishatam Tamishram, Punah Punah Charvita Charvanana, that is a result of they all enter to dark hell. On the right side, you see, leads to a life of inner satisfaction, which is in harmony with nature and the maker of nature. Who is it? Krishna. So, Krishna is the maker of nature and supervisor of nature and guide of nature. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti says. So, therefore, you can get satisfaction and harmony in the world only by leading a God conscious life. Also, in the eat, drink, and be merry culture, everybody is greedy and there is corruption, there is immorality, there is criminalism, cutthroat competition for money making and illicit sexual relationships. And we all shoot up. And then the government and police and army, their vigilance work increases. Because when criminals increase, imagine 1,000 people go for yatra and there is one mobile chore. How many people will suffer? All 999 will suffer, correct? No? Similarly, one criminal comes in a country, it's problem, but police has too many criminals to handle nowadays. On the other hand, when Krishna conscious devotees practice, see the result. Inspires the life of principles like morality, satisfaction, honesty, builds God-centered communities of people with love, trust, and mutual respect. In America, first time in San Francisco, when they wanted to do the Rath Yatra, our devotees, Prabhupada was very surprised how they got the permission for Rath Yatra in America. Because what the devotees did, they went to the police station and said that we have a hand cart, they had written. We have a hand-driven cart and we want to take a procession. They thought it will be like a bullock cart or something. Later on, the police came and saw the huge cart. They were shocked. This is a hand cart? Somehow they got the permission. So when the Rath Yatra happened, the police had arranged several dozens of policemen because they thought that these people will do some mob kind of thing. Crowds will be there and stampede will be there, fighting will be there. But the police were surprised when the procession started. Such wonderful kirtans happened. Prabhupada was also there, and Prabhupada throwing flowers, And the police walked with the parade. From beginning to end, it was complete, harmonious, smooth parade. And the police people came back to police station and reported that we also joined the procession, that's all. We had, of course, naturally they have guns and stick in the hand. They had nothing to use it. They said, these people are perfect gentlemen. They're well behaved. That's what he's saying. Because they have morality, satisfaction, honesty. They live with love, trust, and mutual respect. That is a world view you will get when you follow the Vedic literature. So, coming back to, actually, how preaching should be performed. This is how preaching should be performed. Like, for example, just now we showed these are the things Prabhupada spoke. Challenge people about origin of life. Challenge people about origin of universe. Challenge people about the hedonistic culture of eat, drink, and be merry. What is the result of their criminalism and everything? Tell people about how the Krishna conscious life can produce true civilization, true culture, and everything. And also the goal of life. Modern day life is a goalless life. They are not heading. They are heading nowhere. It's like a football without goalpost. Modern day life. So, and also that's the philosophy behind preaching to people. Prabhupada was relentlessly giving heated arguments and challenging, shaking up the people in the West. And Prabhupada would say, maybe your ancestors were apes, not our ancestors. Prabhupada would really shake up a person. And then when the argument comes, then you get a chance for preaching, isn't it? And how preaching should be performed? Preaching is performed very effectively. Effective means what? Actually, it's not only enough to give heated arguments. You should be able to ultimately turn them into devotees. Otherwise, it's like, you say the battle is, won and the operation is successful, patient is dead. It will be like that. Correct, no? So not only we should present argument, we should be able to convince the person. Actually, even all of you, you will see in the colleges when you go, you should try to get very intelligent boys who are very bold fellows and arguing fellows, challenging fellows. If you can turn them into devotees and bring, then they will bring a big group of devotees with them. They'll bring also. Because every one of those leaders, see, who is the leader? Very simple. You go to any place, there's a group of people. There is one fellow who will raise his tone and everybody else will agree. You will see that he's a leader. A leader is one who has followers. A leader is one whose words are taken seriously. A leader is one who can influence others by the worldview that he presents. And it can be a karmi leader, it can be a devotee leader also. And generally, if you don't preach to such people, there are some fellows who are depressed, who are lost, they failed in the examination, and you bring them here, and then you tell them that, please take prasad and be happy. Of course, they will come take prasad, they'll be relieved of their depression or something for some time, but they may not take the spiritual life very seriously. Those who take the spiritual life seriously are people who are thinkers, who really they are very unhappy with the way society is going. They cannot tolerate it. Their blood is boiling. They want to see the world become different. They want to bring about a reformation in society, change in society. But they don't know how to do that, how to make it possible. They are the ones who will do something. So therefore, I read it in today's culture.
In today's culture, preaching is often looked upon with the attitude you can believe what you like for yourself, but you shouldn't try to push your beliefs onto someone else.
These are motivational talkers say this. Yeah, yes.
Preaching is sometimes viewed as foolish, uncultured, or rude. Of course, they don't even consider that all organizations, spiritual or not, advertise their goods or services.
Yeah, correct. No? Every organization, even if you are a motivation talker, that also you are pushing. Subscribe, you are putting, isn't it? Yeah, are you not pushing that? Either spiritual or material, you have to push. So better which one to push? Spiritual, that's the point, yeah. Yes.
Still, devotees need to have a deeper understanding of the rationale behind preaching, why preaching is so important, and what is the proper attitude towards preaching are.
Yeah. Actually, preaching means switching on a tube light in a dark room. Everybody becomes fearless by that. So one should preach the true knowledge coming in parampara and not concoct or speculate one's own thing and give people. We don't need to pamper the senses of the people. We need to awaken the sleeping souls. Don't. Already somebody is sleeping in the morning. Imagine some boy has to come from Mangalarti. You put one more blanket over him. Acha so jao. You remove the blanket, get him up, take bath and come. Already, 20 baj gaya and Mangalarti is starting. Wake up the sleeping souls, yeah. Yes. One can chant the holy names alone or congregationally. But in this age, the chanting congregationally in the association of devotees is more recommended. It's called Sankirtan. Together, chanting. Sankirtan includes preaching also. Because without inviting people to take part, there is no question of congregational chanting. Lord Chaitanya mission was to spread congregational chanting of the holy names all over the world. Arate ke taraka hai, Krishna Upadesh, Amaragnya Guru Haya, Hare Krishna. Followers of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada follow their example of spreading Sankirtan movement. Like here we give a lecture to the youth students and then you make them take part in chanting and dancing. They will do that. Yeah. The purpose of the material world is twofold. Read it.
To give a living entity a chance to fulfill his material desires, to reform the living beings so they can return to the spiritual world.
Just like, for example, all of you, when you come to study in a college, for example, your father has two purposes. One is, father expects that he's sending you money, correct, no? For your food, clothing, shelter. You accept the money, you wear nice clothes, go to the college, eat nice food, be very happy when you're studying in the college. But then you graduate from the college and come and join his business. And that is second desire. Similarly, Krishna thinks, let these jivas in the material world, I'll supply them, rain, I'll supply them grains, fruits, cereals, everything. Let them take those things and lead a happy life in the material world. But that's not the goal. But ultimately, they should come back to my abode and join the eternal business of, Nitya Leela. Correct, no? So that is Lord's expectation. But jivas do first one very well. First part. Huh? First part, very good, very good. Take everything and just enjoy. And second part, they forget. Imagine a boy takes money from the father, but then he doesn't worry about joining father's business. Rather, he fails in all the exam, he's smoking, drinking, doing his own nonsense. Correct, no? Then he becomes like a bad son. So Prabhupada said we should be good sons of the Lord. Yeah, read further. The great desire.
The great desire of the Lord is that all the lost souls come back and be happy with him. He descends to the material world himself, sends his representatives, and establishes the religious scriptures in order to show the fallen souls the way back to Godhead.
Yeah. Yes. He sends so many representatives. He sent, Prabhupada, for example. Similarly, Jesus. Similarly, Muhammad. Similarly, so many other preachers in the world. Lord is himself coming. Sometimes he sends people. Yeah, the devotee who serves the Lord by bringing living entities closer to him and connecting them with him is very dear to Lord. Such devotees please Krishna the most. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there be ever one more dear. Therefore, one gets extra mercy from Krishna. The more you give, the more you get. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sankirtan is doing. And then here below you see Guruji is preaching to the disciples. So Krishna is very pleased by these activities. Otherwise, look at the bottom picture. How the conditioned souls are just gratifying their senses, isn't it? Yeah, wasting their life. Yeah. Spreading Krishna consciousness is real welfare work because people are wasting their life suffering in the material world. But just by hearing the holy name or taking a little prasadam, they become connected to Krishna and the pathway back to him. At least little Krishna consciousness should be received by living entities. Look at this fellow eating all damn things and becoming a pig in the next life. This fellow is raping a woman and becoming a dog in the next life. So many living entities are not knowing what is to be done and they are just creating a ghastly future for themselves. So we should be sympathetic to them. Let us make everyone fortunate to become Krishna conscious and return back to Godhead. Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagavana Je Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So one for Grastas, one for boys. Shri Prabhupada ki